Okay, I've added a little more sienna, burnt sienna, some raw umber, a little bit of lemon yellow, and some titanium white to help me continue on. So the Prism Violet in this case that I used was an acrylic underneath everything for my drip and splatter layer. It's become a nice complementary color to some of the highlighted things that I create with the yellows. I think this photograph was taken by my niece Amy, probably in Georgia. Don't know for sure. I'll have to ask her. But it was, it had some. I usually work for my own photographs. This year with COVID and stuff, haven't been able to travel to some of the places I go to get my seascapes. So I've been utilizing some images of friends and family, which is kind of fun because it gives me some new energy, some new thoughts. In this case, the photograph was taken at an angle, which you'd think I would do more often, but no. And so I thought that was kind of fun. I decided I wanted to see where that took us. You have to be careful when you're I like the mixing of colors and the blending of colors, but you also have to be careful you don't blend too many of those things in at the same time, or they don't get too piled up on each other, otherwise it gets a little muddy. There's some nice textural things with palette knife too, beyond the directional stuff. Alright, I'm going to clean that up a little bit and work into the sky. So the way, let's see here. I use a variety of brushes and palette knives usually. In this case I'm doing a lot at the beginning with the palette knife. So I can start working some of these colors into each other. As I said, I'm working totally different than what I normally do. I don't know why I decided I want to try this, but it seemed like a fun lesson or experiment. See what came of it. I know that experimenting on my first video was a good idea, but there you have it. Now, when I work from photographs, I'm not going for a realistic or literal interpretation. I'm going for a emotional translation of how I feel about things and what they mean to me. I don't want to mix my blues into my yellows. I might get too much green, which in the highlight spot will be good because it's going to give me that a white light green. But I don't want too much of it in there. Try to cover the canvas as best as possible. A little bit peeking through is okay. And as I get further into it, you're going to see that I'm going to do a little sgraffito and scratch into it anyways, so I like that. Layers, the layers that you're building showing through. Taking this workshop a couple years ago, maybe a year and a half ago now, with Hilda Nelia, an artist who I just adore and respect immensely. And I was trying to learn a little bit more about some of the type of color that she works with and interprets. And I remember saying we were out plein air painting up on a dune, looking over down upon some cottages and then the ocean and Provincetown in the background. And she said to me, "You're hardly looking at things." I tend to get an emotional feeling and visually memorize certain things, and as I'm not going for a literal translation, I'm trying to get markers, identifiable markers and patterns and textures in my head, and then looking back as needed further along in the painting. So I got a lot of it covered now, and so now I'm going to try and blend and start to create some directional textures that I want. Yellows. All right. So you can start to see that horizon line that I was going for. When you get this far along, you have to be careful that you do not work over some really interesting areas that you think are interesting. Like right in here, I don't want to go over that, or whatever I do next. I do not want to block that out. Start working some other directions now with what I have going on here, because we're in the sand. This is actually the sun reflecting on a block of sand, and it has both directions. You have the way the light's hitting it, and then you have the different textures and directions of the things the light are hitting and what that's doing to the color. Getting stuff happening here now. So take a break and I'll be right back.